Hi, I'm Zed. This is my interface design portfolio. In this presentation, I will show my research, low fidelity sketches, high fidelity designs, and explain how I use the UX laws to support my decisions. For this project, I treated it as a third-person ARPG, so I required a full set of menus and a combat HUD. And for the visual research, I collected references from different games. I looked at the Ghost of Tsushima for its main menu composition and natural landscapes, and I looked up the Black Myth Wukong for its ink brush house bars and soft shapes. And for the menu layout, I studied Persona 5 and Metaphor, especially their post menus. And for the setting screens, I studied the Battlefield 6 and Resident Evil 4 remake. This research helped me to understand how modern games combine the strong art direction with the clear readability. For the UI design, I applied several laws of UX to guide my decisions. The first is the aesthetic usability effects, help me to focus on creating a clean ink brush style because the more polished visual makes the interface feel easier to use. And then is the Higgs law that informed how I grouped a setting into 6 categories to reduce the decision time. And then is the Fish law influenced the size and the placement of my main menu and post buttons to keeping the most of important ones closer and larger. And finally is the Vol restore effect, supposed to my ink splash hover states, which stand out clearly when the player interacts. My design directly mixed Chinese ink aesthetic with the Ghost of Tsushima minimalism. I used the ink texture to make the UI feel handcrafted and organic while staying readable. Um, the final style is minimalism, atmospheric, and consistent across all menus and the HUD. For the post menu, I created 4 low-fidelity versions. In the first 2, I tried very safe and centered layouts, but they felt generic and it didn't use the diagonal idea I wanted. And the third version, I pushed everything to one side, which made the screen feel unbalanced. So I finally chose the bottom right layout. It gave me a strong diagonal space for the black ink panel, keeps the buttons in a clear vertical line, and leaves the room to show someone of the game words behind. And the layout became the base for my high fidelity post menu. For the setting menu, I was manually iterating the structure. One version used almost the whole screen for the options, which looks powerful, but very hard to read. Another version gives the much space to the description, and real settings were, were, were pushed into a small corner. So I chose the bottom right layout because it finds balance. And its clear category list on the left and enough room for the slider in the middle and a small description area on the right. So this follows modern games settings patterns and it's easier to scale up later. For the HUD, I tested a different position for the health, stamina, and items. Some layouts put everything at the top, but that blocked too much of the view. Others spread elements to all 4 corners, which made it hard to scan quickly. So I decided on the bottom left layout for the bars and bottom right for the items. And this keeps the combat information in 2 predictable corners, leaves the center of the screen clean, and works well with the third-person action. For the main menu, I explored the full composition. Center version felt too standard and didn't really support the ink style, and button-heavy layout drew attention away from the scenes. So I picked the bottom left design, with the title and the buttons dead on the left side, and this lets the background image tell the story on the right and also connects nicely to my Ghost of Tsushima references. In the high fidelity post menu, I keep the chosen layout and added a diagonal black panel, blurred background, and brush stroke buttons. And the result feels dramatic, but it's still very simple to read. And the high fidelity setting screen keeps the same three-part structure, either double ink accent and a dark red highlight for the active category. So while keeping the control themselves clean and minimal. For the HUD, I find a ink health bar and stamina ring, an item wheel, and the compass. I also used an AI generated picture early on just to check that my visual idea would work before building the final version. For the main menu, I combined my chosen layout with my dramatic background and ink panels. The title and buttons sit on the top of ink textures I sourced from the Pinterest and added on the Photoshop, which ties the whole style together. Yeah, and this is my references. Yeah, and this is my portfolio, and then I'm gonna show my Unity work. Okay, so here's my Unity project. This is the main menu. Also, the main menu was the camera shake. Then it's the settings from the main menu. They also have a description in the graphics on the right. And then we start the game. Okay, now here's the HUD, health bar, stamina, items wheel, and a compass. And then it's the post menu. Then it's the post menu settings. It's the same result. And finally, it's quit.